The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. On this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise, I'll introduce you to some interesting people with information on how their hometown businesses can help you. Like Attorney Vince LoTempio, who specializes in patents and protecting what could be your $1 million idea. Find out how. Then Denise Ligammare from Western Division Federal Credit Union says now is the time to see how you might qualify for a new car or other loan with great rates. And Jonathan McDonnell is back from Buffalo Advanced Medical Acupuncture with alternative therapies to alleviate your pain. Find out how on this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Joe Chili, morning 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Vincent LoTempio, who is a patent attorney. Vince, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you back again. You know, when we start talking about patents, it always amazes me that we have a patent attorney in Buffalo. Do you get a lot of business in Buffalo, or do you have a lot of business from outside the area as well?
Yeah, you know, I have clients from all over the world, really. You know, I'm a registered patent attorney, which means I can practice in any state in the country. So I do ads all over the country using Google Ads now that, you know, the advent of the internet. I actually wrote a patent from a guy from Russia, and we met online on Google Meet and used Google Translate, and I talked to him entirely on the internet, he in Russian and me in English, and I got a patent for him.
Really?
Yeah, from Russia. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing in
Yeah.
itself. When you're thinking of patents, maybe you can give us an idea of what exactly a patent is. Why would someone apply for a patent?
So a patent gives you a right to stop others from making your idea. So the government basically makes a deal with you and says, look, we want free access of ideas throughout the country. We want people not to hold on to their secrets, because then we don't grow as a government. So you know, people with ideas, they want to hold them tight and they want to hold them as a secret. So the government says, look, we'll give you a head start. For 20 years, you're the only person that's allowed to sell this thing. It gives you the head start. You're the first one out there. You can stop anybody from doing it. You can license out your idea, let somebody else to do it. But after 20 years, we're just going to give it to the public. It's going to be out there and anybody can use it. And this way, as a society, as humans, we can grow together.
So is that like public domain?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So it's kind of like what they do with music, you know, if they license it for an amount of time and then it can become public domain.
Yeah, copyright, you know, is as long as you live, you own the copyright in your music, and then 70 years after you die, and then it becomes public domain. Like, you could use Vivaldi's music right now any way you want.
So when someone calls you and says, I want to talk about getting a patent, what's the first thing? The first thing that you would ask them would be, what's your idea?
Yeah, you know, on that first phone call, I really don't ask them what their idea is. I know that the inventors want to keep it really tight. So I want to give them general information that, look, have you used it in public? There's a rule out there that says if you use it in public and you offer it for sale, or you publish it anywhere, or you publish it, offer it, sale, or use it in public, you have 1 year to file your patent application. So if you did something that would affect your patent rights, I want you to know. And the first thing I tell you is, don't tell anybody about this until, you know, we file it. And then you know, I kind of give the basic process. It starts with a search. Let's see if it's out there already. Let's see if you have a chance of getting the patent. You know, and then from there we'll do the search. Then we can decide whether or not we should file it or not. And also the other thing I say is, look, it's not like a lottery ticket where you're just going to tell somebody, you know, here's my idea, and you're just going to start making money. you as the patent owner, as the inventor, have to start wearing hats that you probably never wore before. You have to learn how to market, manufacture, and distribute a product. So we got to figure a game plan, have a business plan to go forward on how you're going to do that. If I wave a magic wand over your head, Joe, and give you a patent, what are you going to do with it? You know, what are you going to do with it?
Vince, and we're talking to Vince LoTempio, who's a patent attorney. Vince, is a patent good all over the world?
So no, patents are local, and it's just in the U.S. And there is something called the Patent Cooperation Treaty, where all the industrial companies in the countries in the world have said, look, we know you can't just file in every country day one. So if you file in your home country and you're part of this treaty, which mostly all the countries are, we'll give you 1 year to file in any other country. And then if you file what's known as a PCT application, Patent Cooperation Treaty application, we'll give you 30 months to decide where you go. So it's basically, it holds the filing date for you, gives you a chance that if you're going to be on QVC in Germany next Tuesday, well, we better file something in Germany. So yeah, you're going to have to file in individual countries to answer your question.
If somebody calls you that's watching today to apply for a patent, does the billing start the minute they get you on the phone?
No, I wish it did, but it doesn't. I basically give the first phone call for free. And, I say, look, if you want to come and see me, we can see you. I bill for the first hour. But if you do something, hire me to do a patent or a trademark, I'll credit it towards whatever you're doing. I don't have the time to meet with people and not get paid for my time. I get a lot of, I call them tire kickers. But yeah, I have a 15-minute phone call, which usually goes from half an hour to an hour because I don't stop talking. My wife says I'm a data dump. I just keep going. So usually that first phone call, I give out a lot of free information.
So DD stands for data dump.
Yeah.
All right, we just have about a minute and a half left. Do you need to have a prototype? Does an inventor have to have a prototype?
That's a misconception. People think that they need a prototype and that the U.S. Patent Office has a big, huge warehouse of 1 million inventions, but no, you don't need it. But it's probably important to have one because a lot of times people will have an idea. They think it's a great idea down on paper. We actually get the patent for it, and then they try to use it, and it doesn't work the way they expected it to be. So when you prepare your prototype and when you put your prototype together, you iron out a lot of the problems. So you don't need it, no. If you can describe how to make and use it, we can file a patent for you.
All right. Sounds a little bit confusing. So I guess, the best thing to do is really call you, make an appointment, come in and talk to you. You are local, so you're not talking to somebody or searching somebody online. So best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, my phone number is 716-216-5000, and I'm at lotempiolaw.com.
All right, very good. Vince LoTempio, we appreciate it. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Vince LoTempio by calling 716-216-5000. Or again, you can go to lotempiolaw.com. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment was provided by Vincent LoTempio. And don't forget to start your mornings with me weekdays 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK. Hi, I'm Joe Chili, mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Denise Ligammare, who's the Business and Development Manager for Western Division Federal Credit Union. Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
It's getting to be that time of the year where I start thinking about whether it be home improvement, getting a new car, maybe. And these are all things that you can help me with.
Absolutely.
In a business capacity, I'm sure you don't carry that money with you, but
I wish I did. But no.
So this time of the year, what are those concerns of individuals right now?
Absolutely. Well, here in Western New York, we only have like maybe 5.5 months worth of really good weather. So as soon as we get those first couple days where it's really nice, everybody wants to get outside and either all of a sudden you find them car shopping or boat shopping or talking about a jet ski or maybe doing something new in their backyard or something for the house. So this is the time of year. I think that nicer weather just gets people motivated after our long, dreary winter to get out and get motivated to do things.
So your options, I guess, if you're looking to make improvements on your home, would be, whether it be like a home equity, loan. Is that something that it used to be a big thing in the past? I remember, we'd redo the kitchen. Let's get a home equity loan, right?
Right.
And now, and it used to be an advantage from a tax standpoint, but do people still do it?
Not so much a tax advantage anymore, but it is, when you're taking a look at interest rates, like personal loans, credit cards, things like that, they're usually anywhere from 10% or higher. So when you're taking a look at a home equity, when you have equity within your house to use, you get a much lower interest rate. And that usually is beneficial to make the job easier and cheaper to get done and in a budget you can't afford. So we've seen a big spike in home equities, especially since COVID. I think that has a lot to do with the housing market. A lot of people aren't buying new anymore, or maybe people who wanted to all of a sudden downsize or go into a ranch style home. You look out in the market and the houses weren't really available in there because a lot of people have chosen to stay within their homes now. And so when you stay, all those projects that you were like, oh, I'm not going to worry about doing those because we might not be here in 3 or 5 years. Now that they've decided to stay, it's like, okay, now let's redo that kitchen, or let's redo the bedroom, or let's put the new roof on, let's put a pool in the backyard. So home equities, they used to be a seasonal thing where we usually used to be able to see them in the fall, and the springtime was a big time because people look at home projects in the fall, getting their house ready for winter time, and then in the spring, all the outdoor stuff. Now we're seeing them every single month out of the year. It's just one of those things that people are just staying in the homes, getting things done, or when they're purchasing a new home, making things the way they want them to be. So when you're taking a look at home equities, there's usually two basic types. There's a home equity loan that's great for people who have a set dollar amount. We know we need $20,000 to do this. It's a fixed rate, and they want just the same monthly payment every single month. So that's your home equity loan. Home equity line of credit, that's a variable rate. And so with prime, it's been going up the past couple of years, but now it's starting to come down. It's still at 7.5, which is still a great rate compared to personal loans. But the variable rate, that could make your payment fluctuate every single month, but a lot of people like that line of credit. So if you have ongoing projects, a home equity line of credit is basically that. Whatever you borrow, then as soon as you pay back, it becomes available again, almost like a credit card.
Yeah, right.
So you can keep those open 5, 10, and 15 years. Western Division, something that we offer that's a little bit different than other financial institutions, we kind of took the best of both worlds. We took the home loan and the home equity line of credit, and we kind of smashed them together. So we offer what's called a home equity fixed rate line of credit. And what's great about that is that it gives you the fixed rate, which is ours is at a rate of 6.49 right now, which is below prime. It gives you the line of credit, so you have that available for the 5, 10, or 15 years to borrow and pay back, borrow and pay back. And as long as you keep it open for 3 years, there's no closing costs, with only a minimum draw of only $5,000. So a lot of home equities, you need 10, 20, 25,000 as your first draw. So that home equity fixed line of credit is really just been a game changer for a lot of people in Western New York lately.
I'm sold. Okay, now we've got about 3 minutes left. Let's get into car loans too. And a couple of things. If people are going to get a new car, and if they go into a car dealership and they say this is what it's going to cost, and they say, okay, well, let me think about it, they can come talk to you.
Absolutely.
Right? They can do that. And the other thing is, if people want to refinance their vehicle, right? Tell us about it.
Something that is great that Western Division does is that we offer the same rate on vehicles for new, used, refinanced, or lease buyout, where a lot of other financial institutions and dealers in the area offer a really great rate for new because they're trying to move that product. Usually a higher rate for used. Refinancing usually comes with a higher rate and fees. So I think that's something that we do really well. So same rate, our rates start at 3.99. New, used, refinanced, or lease buyout. You can call us, you can text us, you can go right online. A lot of people call us and get pre-approved before going out to shop, which really works in their benefit because say they were to call and say, get pre-approved for us, be like, okay, you have this dollar amount, go out shopping, this is your rate. Say it's 3.99. Then when they go to the dealer's like, you have fantastic credit, we're gonna give you 7%. And then it's like, oh, I can get 3.99 in my credit union. And then the dealer's like, let me go talk to my financial F&I guy behind the screens. So it really works in your benefit to get pre-approved before you go out vehicle shopping, especially in this market where people are worried about tariffs. They're like, should I be buying now? Should I not be buying now? We try and help make it a little bit easier for everybody.
Yeah, my favorite expression here, let me take a pencil to that. You're right. All right. Denise Ligammare, this has been very helpful. I really appreciate it. So once again, for more information and answers to your questions, contact Western Division Federal Credit Union by calling 716-500-LOAN or go to westerndivision.org. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment was provided by Western Division Federal Credit Union. And you can join me weekday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK. Hi, I'm Joe Chili, mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Jonathan McDonnell from BAM Acupuncture. Now that's Buffalo Advanced Medical Acupuncture, because I very seldom say the full name. And I very seldom say the fact that you are a New York State licensed acupuncturist.
Right, and I have a master's degree in acupuncture and oriental medicine.
Really? A master's degree in acupuncture and oriental medicine?
Yes,
Well,
I you know, whenever I say that at parties, I'm always like the center of attention. Right?
Really?
Oh yeah, it's very. I mean, it's a kind of a unique thing, right? Like it's not something like, hey, what do you do for a living? Like, I stick needles in people.
People don't give you a hard time about that.
Oh, people want to know all about it.
Yeah, let's talk about how you're really revolutionizing, probably is the best way to put it, chronic pain, right? Is that the way that you kind of put it? You're really taking chronic pain and, you're helping it without medicine, without,
Absolutely.
putting artificial things.
Yeah, so acupuncture has been around for thousands of years, right? But what makes Buffalo Advanced Medical Acupuncture unique is, absolutely, we specialize in the tough cases. The people that have kind of hit a wall with their health. If you've ever been told, you just have to learn to live with this, or, just take this pill to help with this pill. Those are the people that tend to gravitate to our clinic, and those are the people who can help. And so what makes us unique, and the way we're able to do that is we take this time-tested treatment in acupuncture and all the ancient wisdom and perspective that's involved with that. And then we're going to seamlessly blend in more modern advancements in integrative medicine. So we really are kind of cutting edge on what we can do for a lot of people that either don't respond to traditional treatments like medications and surgeries, or just don't like how they feel or haven't gotten the results they're looking for.
I've heard people comment that they constantly feel tired. All right, so whether that's chronic fatigue, or sometimes after an illness or something, they said, I just have this brain fog that kind of hangs around. Have you heard those comments? Do you help people with things like that?
More and more so. I think there's a lot of layers to that, right, too. I think now, today, the more modern, kind of manifestation of that is these long COVID. People that have had long COVID. That's a very common complaint with that, is I just feel tired all the time. I can't think. I go to, I take a measurement and I go here and it's gone. It's just not in my brain. But that's something we've been treating for years at BAM. Another condition that I think of with that is fibromyalgia. A lot of the patients that come in with fibromyalgia will complain of brain fog. That's a very common complaint with that, along with like the achiness and depression. That's a very tough disease, fibromyalgia. It's been around for a couple decades now, but I think it's something that's still very poorly understood. And it can feel very isolating to those people. They don't know where to turn. They don't know if there's help for them. And the medications like the Lyricas and the gabapentins and the things, it's kind of a shot in the dark for a lot of these people, and it makes them feel worse. Brain fog, fibromyalgia, long COVID, those are definitely things that we see a lot of.
And do you see people that have lost hope?
That's why we exist. I don't want people to lose hope. So if you're somebody that's lost hope, absolutely, give us a call. That's what we specialize in. If you, you're worried about, I'm retired and I can't enjoy my grandchildren. I'm worried about, I can't feel my feet because in balance. So that's, you're isolating yourself. You're not getting out as much. I get a lot of patients who are worried about the ability to drive. I think that's something that we really take for granted. That's freedom in this country. Like, you can't get around without a car. I get patients with neuropathy that can't feel their feet, and that's where they are. If you're somebody that's lost hope, that's why I'm here today. I'm here to scream it at the rooftops. There is hope for you. Come on in, set up a consultation, sit down with us, and let's get you back to living life.
Two things that we talked about before, and I bring it up again. Some people just say the fact that, I'm getting old, it's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. It's the aging process, right? And then the other thing is that they've been to a certain number of specialists or doctors or whatever, and they don't get the results they need, or they get medication that just masks it, and doesn't cure it. So in that case, you might be a last resort, right?
Yeah, and I think that's really unfortunate, Joe. You know, I think we have taken that as just a matter of fact in our society. You know, it's just part of getting older. I can tell you from being in practice for 20 years, even before I was in acupuncture, you know, I did a lot in rehab centers as a physical therapist and nursing homes. There are people out there who don't have that attitude. You know, I could show you 90-year-olds that act like they're 30. You know, and then there's the other end of that spectrum. I can show you people that are 60 that, you know, they feel and act like they're 90. So yeah, if you're somebody you don't feel your age, that's what we specialize in. We have a little time machine in the back of the clinic, and we turn the clock back for you.
Well, you know, I can understand that because speaking for myself, I don't want to get old.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
I don't feel old. I don't want to. You know, I don't want to just sit around.
I mean, I have to stop you there. I mean, I want to get old, but I want to stay youthful.
Okay. Well, yeah. And when you're, if you're thinking of it as a number, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, if you don't, you know, there's no necessarily limits to what you can do until you find out you just can't do it, right?
No.
I mean, you know.
No.
So that's the great thing. What's the first step for an individual?
Yeah, so it's real simple. You know, if you are someone like we've been talking about, someone that's lost hope, you've been told you just have to learn to live with it, you feel older than you should, you know, give us a call, set up a consultation. 632-2207, that's 716-632-2207. You'll talk to one of our patient care coordinators, set up a consultation with me, and then that's the first step. We'll sit down. I want to do a little investigative work, see if you're somebody that's a good candidate for what we do, and if you are, I'll spell out a clear treatment path and get you rolling and get you back to living life.
It sounds great.
Yeah,
Jonathan McDonnell, BAM Acupuncture. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Buffalo Advanced Medical Acupuncture by calling 716-632-2207 or go to bamacupuncture.com. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment was provided by Buffalo Advanced Medical Acupuncture. And join me weekday mornings, 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK.
Thanks for watching this edition of the Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigweck.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to the Big WECK, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.